And we're live. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Here we are at Busybird headquarters. My name is Blaise Van Heck.
And I'm Les Zigamanis.
And we didn't do a live last Wednesday because we were in Brisbane. Why were we in Brisbane, Les?
I don't know why.
We were going to do a live, but it was a little bit intense, wasn't it?
Oh, we were occupied at that time, but we otherwise would have done a live pitching Pride to 4 production companies.
Yep.
Hopefully for adaptation, but we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, so that was actually pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Besides being intense, I ate so many lollies that I was on a bit of a sugar high. They put lollies everywhere. There was big bucket loads of pythons,
Didn't
snakes.
you steal the packet off someone else's
I
table?
didn't steal them. They were there for the taking.
Until you found out they were being...
And I did bring them back to share, but I ate them.
I can't believe you ate them.
So, what are we talking about today? So, we have a new book coming out next month. Want to show and tell. So this is a young adult book called The Shadow in the Wind by Lazarus Zigamanis. So Lazarus Zigamanis is...
It's not me. I'm Les Zigamanis.
Is a pseudonym.
I can call Lazarus.
You can call, okay, go for it.
Call him.
No. So, bring it back, come back.
I'm Lazarus Zigamanis.
Okay, so this is a novella. Do you want to explain a little bit about this book?
Okay, so this book I think was first written back in about 2014. It's a story about a young boy, a 6-year-old, who goes off on an adventure into the Australian bush with just his border collie in tow to try and find a pendant that he believes will save his mother from terminal illness. And it's a story about learning about mortality and coming to face, as a kid we don't really understand these things, and come to face those things that, unfortunately happen in life, such as illness, cancer and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of magical realism in it also, but it's really just a story about what a boy will do to try and save his mother and what he believes will actually work.
Yep.
And it's a novella which Ryan O'Neill, do we know Ryan O'Neill?
Yes.
He won the 2007 Australian Prime Minister's Literary Award for Fiction for Very Brilliant Careers. If you haven't read it, you should read it. It's a brilliant book. He says, inspired, unexpected and moving, The Shadow in the Wind is a delight. So that's what he said. You've got to trust Ryan because he has a beard.
A red beard.
Yes.
So this book is actually under our imprint, Pinion Press. So Pinion Press, we have 2 imprints. One is Busybird Publishing. Busybird Publishing is all of the books that are where we help people self-publish, and Pinion Press are our traditionally published books.
Yep.
Now, when we bring out a book, Les, and this is a really good...
Lazarus.
Sorry.
Come and go get Les, I will.
It's okay, you can be Lazarus today.
I am
This
Lazarus.
is a good marketing tool for anyone who's publishing their book. So we have, there's a few names for it. We call it a media information sheet. Some places call it a title sheet. What's another name that you've heard?
Advanced information, did we say that on? Advanced information sheet?
Advanced information sheet. But anyway, it's kind of like a 1-page sheet that has all the information for your book that you can send to libraries and bookshops and wherever, media and what have you. So the idea is and we actually got this printed in Officeworks because our printer isn't great. So this looks really nice. The cover of the book, a bit of a synopsis, and quite often that is the blurb that's on the back of the book. Some selling points. So you want to talk about who it's for in terms of the genre, what sort of themes it might explore. So obviously if it's a non-fiction book, it's going to talk about, whatever the book is helping the reader to achieve, and then a little bit about the author. And then in this box here, we have all the information about the ISBN, how much it retails for, what category it is.
What's an ISBN?
An ISBN. Show them the ISBN.
So that's called the imprint page. Every book should have one. And the ISBN is the unique identifying number for that book. It's like a license plate for a car.
So it stands for International Standard Book Number, and it actually makes it a legal document.
Oh, cool.
So once the book is published, we send one copy off to the National Library in Canberra and one to the State Library of Victoria. And that means that it is easily found in library catalogues especially, but it kind of gives it a digital imprint around the world. So now, you don't have to actually have an ISBN, did you know that, to publish a book? But if you want it to be thought of as a real book, you should have one. So
How
if
do you
want
do the barcode without an ISBN?
you can't.
There's the barcode, which is generated contingent on the numbers the ISBN provides.
Yeah, so if you look at the back of the book, the ISBN number is on the barcode.
Yep.
And then some media information about, where you can organise to get copies of the book, but also to get media interviews or what have you with the author. So what we will do with this book is send out a whole lot of books, like complimentary books to reviewers, in the hope that these reviewers will spread the word about how fantastic the book is.
No better.
So I think you'll agree the cover looks
Yeah, thank you
enticing.
to Kev Howlett for the illustration and Blaze Van Heck for putting the whole cover together.
So Les, this is
Lazarus. This is going to be a series, isn't it? Yes. So it's going to follow Keen throughout his life, and every story is going to be separated by about 5 or 6 years. So the next one will be when he's about 12 or 13, and hopefully that'll come out later in the year or early next year.
Have you already written it?
No, but it's in my head.
Okay.
If someone gave me time off, I could write it. Sorry,
Okay.
no, because I don't need time off. I'm Lazarus. Les would need time off.
Yeah, Les would need time off. Yeah. And why would Les need time off if Lazarus is writing it?
Because he talks to Lazarus about how the story's going to develop, and
Oh, so Les is your mentor.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, he's a genius. That guy.
Is he?
He seriously is a genius.
Okay. Anything else you want to say about this book?
Buy it, buy it,
Yep.
buy it.
What age group is it for?
Anything from about 12 upwards. So it's meant to be multi-layered. That young adults will get what they get out of it, and adults will see something different.
Yeah. So maybe 12 to 16 is the what it's aimed at, but in actual fact,
Yeah.
adults
I mean, it's the
get a lot
same
out
as.
of it because it makes you think about how a child might
I mean,
react
it's the
to
same thing. It's the same as To Kill a Mockingbird, where the protagonist is like 8, I think she is.
8 going on 35.
Yeah, and generally they say the age of protagonist is the age of your readership, but To Kill a Mockingbird is read by all ages. So, books, that's the appeal of books. They don't just sort of fit one age bracket.
Yeah.
They can really appeal to multiple demographics.
Yep. Cool. Okay. Well, let's put the book down and talk about something else.
I better go get Les though.
Okay, go get Liz. Now we have next month Les Zigomanis and myself will be running our 2-day boot camp.
Did I miss anything?
No, you didn't.
Okay.
2-day book writing boot camp, Les, is on the 27th and 28th of April. The deadline, the early bird deadline was last Friday, but we extended it to the end of today. So if anyone was really wanting to get in on it, so it's 2 full days. It's a very intense workshop. What do you think people can expect from it?
People can expect a fast-track introduction to writing, publishing and marketing, and it'll be exhaustive. There's a lot of information, and if you're trying to find your way as a writer, or you are writing but don't know what happens next, where to go, what to do, it's the perfect workshop. It will really just upload a lot of information into your head.
Would you say that if people are wanting to get their book published this year, that they'll get enough information from it?
I would say if you wanted to get your book published this year, you would get a lot of information from it.
Okay. So we actually divide the weekend into 4 parts. The first part is actually the planning of the book.
Yep.
Why do you think planning a book is important?
Yep, too many people jump into writing and think that, don't worry, I'm brilliant, it'll work itself out, and it's probably the best way to get lost.
Yeah, and it may eventually work itself
Oh, it
out,
won't.
but it might take 5 or 10 years.
No, it won't. It won't. Unless you actually have some sort of planning in it, and I'm not saying you have to outline the whole book, but unless you work out the background and information and stuff like that,
Yeah.
you will really not know where you're going. And if you produce a book, I imagine it'll be Oscar.
Don't eat that.
It'll be quite aimless. What are you doing?
He slobbered on it.
It's not like him.
I would say too, probably from people who we talk to, the biggest issue is they have all of these ideas for a book, and it could be 5 books. So the planning part of it really is about distilling what the book is about, so that you are more focused.
Yep. So you need to know what you're writing. You know, you don't have to know every page, but you need to know what your beginning is and what your end is probably going to be, and where you're trying to strive towards.
Yeah.
And if you don't know that, then you will be just aimlessly going from one thing to the next, and it'll reflect in the writing.
Yep. So the second part is writing. So we will cover some
In the writing workshop.
a writing workshop. Yes. And so we will actually, there are a lot of courses out there that have writing workshops, and there's actually no writing in them.
Did you say courses or gorses?
Courses.
Okay. So I don't think gorses reflect in writing. Yes, and you're totally right.
So, it's not an intensive writing. It's not
Intensive.
the whole weekend, because really we can only give a bit of time, but it's a good way to work out your confidence levels in writing. Then you know whether you need more help with writing. But actually, we give some really good tips.
But I think everyone needs help with writing.
I do.
You mentioned when we were talking about this book. What was that book? Can you read that, Sam? What's that say?
That's clear. The Shadow of the Wind.
Yeah. So,
By
right.
Lazarus Igamanis, he
Yep.
left the building.
Yep. Ryan O'Neill, who won Australian Prime Minister's Literary Award for Fiction. I read that before it was published because he goes out and gets feedback from people.
Yep.
You know, A.S. Partridge, to pronounce it, who won the Miles Franklin for Black Rock White City. I read that. It's just really, it's about me. But I read that before that was published, and then I'll win the Miles Franklin because again, he goes out and he gets feedback because then these people are high-end achieving authors, and they know to get the best out of their work, they have to go out and get help because you're not going to see it yourself, so you need fresh eyes. And they get stuff read by trusted groups of friends, and the feedback they receive, they incorporate it. Yep. And
readers.
so everyone needs help. Anyone who thinks they're just going to sit back like an auteur and just write a book and it'll be perfect, it doesn't need anyone to read it, doesn't need editing or anything like that. It's just going to be a bestseller. You're probably going to have a sad wake-up call at some point.
Yeah.
So everyone needs some sort of grounding and feedback.
Yeah. So we will give them
Education.
lots of writing tips.
Yep.
And then the third session will be about publishing. So what we find is when people try and do the publishing themselves, which you can do, I think the biggest problem is because they don't know what they're doing, they kind of go in circles and it ends up taking twice as long and costing twice as much. So if you know before you start the project, what you're in for in terms of publishing, that's going to save a lot of heart.
Yeah, and I think you need to be aware of the publishing landscape too, because there are a lot of sharks out there who prey on inexperienced authors who don't know the landscape, don't know how to operate. And we've heard plenty of horror stories from people who've signed with companies who've then taken them for tens of thousands of dollars, and they haven't produced what they said they were going to produce. We won't name any names, but I recall that someone got their book. They got a proof copy, and it was meant to have been edited, and you read it and were picking up errors from the first couple of pages, really basic errors.
Yeah.
So you need to do due diligence when you navigate the publishing landscape, and that's the great thing about our workshop. It will really teach you about what's out there. We're not here to try and just generate business for ourselves. We're here to teach people, and so when people walk away, they know what they're facing and what avenues they can take.
Yeah, yeah. Some people talking very loudly up the back there. Maybe Sam can go and tell him to shut up. Or whisper. So, and the fourth session is marketing. Because would you say that the selling of the book is the hardest part of the whole publishing journey?
I would say that selling of the book is the hardest part of the publishing journey. Yes, it's totally the hardest part.
There's an echo in here.
Is there an echo in here? It's totally the hardest part.
Yeah. And so we will talk about author platforms, how to get the book into readers' hands and things like that.
Yep. I mean, you know, we always say, like, you go into a bookstore, there's thousands of books in the bookstore, there's always new books coming in. Why is your book going to stand out? Some people think their book's going to be magic, like they can just write it and that's it.
I think a lot of, and there are so many brilliant books out there, but they just don't sell because nobody knows they exist.
Lots of brilliant books out there.
Yeah. Well, lots of brilliant books that might sell some copies, but not do as well as you expect.
If you look at the books, like I said, I mean, there's thousands of books in there. You know, a lot of them are going to be really good. You know, so what makes them stand out from others? Unfortunately, sometimes nothing, and that goes down to marketing. And it's just really, you know, if people aren't aware that that book exists, why would they pick it up?
Yeah.
Why would they read it?
What we will concentrate mostly on is refining the pitch.
Yeah, and sometimes you get like average books or okay books which sell well, and the reason they sell well is because marketing.
Yeah.
People know it exists, it generates a buzz, and then other readers go and buy it.
Yeah. So the 2-day book writing boot camp is on 27th and 28th of April.
Yep.
Which is a Saturday and Sunday. It's just daytime, so you can go
9 to
home.
5.
9 to 5. You can go home and pass out.
Yep.
Or if you're not close to us at Busybird, so it is actually here at headquarters in Montmorency, Melbourne. So, if you go onto our website, there is options for accommodation or suggestions for accommodation if you need to be closer to us.
Or you can just sleep on the floor here.
Oh yeah, if you have a sleeping bag.
It's concrete.
Well, there's a bit of carpet here. So
it is a bit of carpet.
We have hot water now, so that's good.
I think hot water helps people sleep.
Okay, so that's book camp.
And there'll be a dinner the night before, an introductory dinner.
Yeah, so we like to get to know each other.
Which we did last year, and everyone, I think we had 10 people attend the book camp, and everyone came to dinner except for Sam.
Yep.
Sam just left,
We didn't know Sam back.
Oh, is that the excuse she's going to use? Oh, didn't know about it.
Something else that's very exciting, Les.
Yes.
Last week, a new online magazine was released or launched called Supernal Magazine Australia. I don't know if you can see that, but that's the branding of it.
Look at Sam's hand. It's like
So
Cousin It in the Addams Family.
So Busybird Publishing has been a part of the production of this, and we highly recommend that you subscribe because it's free.
Yeah.
So it's supernalmagazineaustralia.com.au if you want to go and subscribe.
Yeah, and what's it about? Have you read it all yet?
It is about, I have read some of it. I haven't read all of it yet.
Sam read it all. What do you think, Sam?
It's pretty interesting.
There you go.
So actually, Les, our Kev has an article in there about his trek to Mount Everest Base Camp.
Our Kev. Like, there's
Kev,
more
like
than...
Busybird's Kev.
Oh, there's more than one Kev.
There's lots of Kevs. So, why...
Kid in Up was named Kev, wasn't he?
Who?
Little kid in Up.
Might have been.
No, anyway, go on. Stop diverting. So Supernal's the brainchild of psychic comedian Anthony Kilner. Someone could just lean across and take his book.
Yes, we have one of his books here. Practical
Practical
Mediumship.
And Purple Dragonfly is Jane Offer.
Yes.
So I think Anthony met with Jane and said, what do you have on offer? And Jane said, let's do it. Like, I don't know.
Well, there's lots of articles about mediumship and spirits and ghosts and travel and
spiritual growth,
organic food.
Yep.
It's it's quite diverse.
Yeah, so it's a metaphysical exploration of the world around us, and both Anthony and Jane just want to give back to the community. You know, and it's a really frenetic time in our lives. A lot of people are going through transitional periods. Obviously, everyone has stuff going on in their lives, so there's something for everyone.
There's a lot of talk about the energy of the world actually changing, and so that's why we're seeing a lot of retreats around transformation and self-help. Self-help books actually do sell really well because I think people are looking for something different.
Yep.
So that's why this magazine is quite important.
That's just a bookmark. So
It's just a bookmark, but
and its web address is
Supernal Magazine
That's-
Australia.com.au.
Yep. I could show it to you. It's tiny.
Okay. Maybe we can put it in the comments under the live video.
Maybe we could put it